Dear friends, tonight I want to start. This is the evening show. I want to start with something a little bit different, a little different, a little different, a little special, a little important. A tribute to Rosalind Carter, but not why you think. I want to say how I think that in this world that we live in, with all of this faux notoriety and people who think they're special and whatever, and they're not. The fact that Jimmy Carter and his wife were married, how long was 70? I think what was it? 77 years. I think is the most remarkable thing in the world. And I think before we get into this heavy stuff, we should stop and think about that. Because in this absolute lousy world that we live in, with all of this talk about, I don't know, divorce in this 77 years. And Jimmy Carter said something which was so important. He said that this was his partner. And when you look at it, the greatest thing you want to ever have is a partner, is a best friend. It's the greatest thing in the world. Everything else is wonderful too. Don't get me wrong. Yes. Romantic and all of the other accoutrements. Ask yourself, who in your life, who, other than your children, would you take a bullet for? And give a bullet, perhaps, which is a weird kind of concept. Who are the people that you would say, this is my, you know what chiral is? Chiral is this wonderful term. It's like mirror imaged. They don't fit on top of each other this way, but this way they do. Chirality. It's stereoisomers and cis-trans isomers, cis-trans. And I think that's the most wonderful thing in the world. And should everybody be lucky enough to have somebody that they can say, I've been married for this long, or this is my mate, my best friend, my partner, it's the greatest thing in the world. Believe me. Went to a wedding recently, and I'm listening to all this stuff. It's like, yeah, that's nice. And I hope it works, and I'm sure it does. But when it works, it's wonderful. It's magic. And when people say, well, it's a marriage, it's a creating somebody who is now your blood relative, sort of. It's like adoption meets marriage meets whatever. It is, I still think, the greatest function of humanity. Not procreative. You don't need anything special for that. Something that's different, that separates us. It's like when you have certain animals that are for the rest of their lives, they're forever merged, mates for life. It's like the cetaceans, the way they feel. They have paralimbic systems that are so great that the sense of loss for a bottlenose dolphin or an orca, a whale, there's nothing that humans even can understand with this. See, been with my best friend for 24 years. It's the greatest thing. So Jimmy Carter, here's to you. Good job. Good job. That's all. I wanted to say that to you. Because when marriage works, we never celebrate it enough. That being said, please like the video, subscribe to the channel. When we return, we're going to be talking about how still nobody is even remotely close to understanding what's happening regarding Gaza and Hamas, especially Mr. Piers Brosnan, who I think is the exemplar for cluelessness. But first, this. Dark clouds are gathering as markets shudder. Stocks are sinking, currency stumbling, fear and uncertainty reign. The Middle East, Ukraine, Taiwan, the debt, it's endless. Yet one asset stands firm, gold. In crisis after crisis, gold is there in the background. Its enduring value guards against loss, like a missile shield against incoming. While paper wealth burns, gold persists. Shield your savings against looming threats, war, recession, contagion, and avoid the frenzied panic of the unprepared. Take control in the chaos. Fortune favors decisive action. Get hold of gold now before it's out of reach. And right now, Noble Gold Investments offers a free 5-ounce America the Beautiful coin with every new IRA. Claim your free coin today to secure your financial future. As this new storm gathers, panic looms. And some of the places you were thinking of for your money, well, they don't look so clever anymore. Secure your future against disaster now. Open a Noble Gold Investments IRA and claim your free bullion coin today. Go to LionelNationGold.com. That's LionelNationGold.com. LionelNationGold.com, the only gold company I trust. And remember, there's always a risk of investment and there's no guarantee of any kind. I want to give you an example of something which is probably the best thing I could ever explain to you. I think that nobody is really talking about, but I will. I don't know why I keep saying this, but once you get on YouTube reels or algorithms, it comes out of nowhere. They come out of nowhere, these things. And my friend, it works something like this. Let me see if I can explain this to you. I want you to listen, and I'm going to try again to maybe explain to you a very simple thing of how to understand this. And it's going to be very, very simple. And we're not going to spend a lot of time on this, but I want you to understand it. Israel and Hamas or Palestine or whatever you want to call it. Let's start with Israel. Okay? You want to understand Israel? Now, what's happening is, as you know, if you want to go on TV, if you want to go on, Candace Owens is figuring this out. Oh, they're going to burn her. They're going to just for drill. Nobody liked her. They recognize she's a phony. She doesn't believe in what she's saying. She'll say anything he has to. Anyway, I don't care. Anyway, but she, if you plan on taking the wrong side and you plan to work within the realm of conservative platforms, it's not going to work. You cannot do this. You cannot. Now, there's a way to explain this, and I will explain this to you, that nobody will be offended by, and frankly, nobody will understand, which is the key to this. But if you want to come on and blast Israel, or if you want to try this, go ahead and do it. You have plenty of platforms where that is available, but they are on left channels and left, whatever it is, and that is that. Okay, so just want to let you know it's there. Okay, but I just want you to understand. But if you want to talk about apartheid in this, please go ahead, but they will kill you in terms of the conservative platforms and all right. If that's what you want to do, okay, it's up to you, Candace. You're the genius. Just telling you now, that's the way it goes. That's the way it goes. There are certain things that you can say whatever you want. If you, for example, tried to go on a religious program and you talked about gay marriage being groovy, no, you would lose your audience. Doesn't mean you're wrong. It's that you will lose your audience. And if you want to go on Amy Goodman, if you want to go on certain, I don't want to say left, but you know who they are. And you come out and you say, well, as far as I'm concerned, Hamas basically signed their death warrant and Israel has the right to completely destroy God. Forget it. Wrong venue. You're gone. Does that make sense to you? Do you understand how this works? You do know that, right? You do know that. Republican, conservative is Israel. Left or international, dare I say, for the most part, is Palestine. Does that make any sense to you? You got it? You got it? That's the way it is. Any questions? Anybody have any questions about that? You want to do this? Go ahead. And I'm telling you, within this cockfight, this swarm, this whatever, they will go after Tucker because they want to get Tucker. They will go after whoever the big dogs are. They'll take you down. Take you down. Candace are coming after you, and Tucker and whoever. I don't know whoever is out there, because they live in a black and white world. Apodictic. This one of the other. You want to live in the Ben Shapiro world? He owns this. In the world of talk radio platforms, Ben owns it. Very smart. Ben Shapiro and Hannity teach you, have a position, stick to it, don't budge. And I'm not suggesting it. I think Ben Shapiro is absolutely 100% sincere. He is not saying this but he believes this as an advocate, as do many people. Okay, good. Now, stop. Does this make any sense to you? Does this make any sense to you? Okay. Now, what are you supposed to do? Let me tell you let me tell you. Do you want to understand this? I do. This is the way I do it. First, good news. Nobody gives a rat's ass about what you think. So good news. Good news. Seriously, nobody cares. Hamas is not dialing into Ben Shapiro or Amy Goodman and seeing, how are we doing? It doesn't matter. It's just the myth that we pretend to portray when we try to tell you that we know what we're talking about. We don't know anything. We may read a little more, but we are no more insightful than anybody. And it's part of the con of what we do. We make you think that somehow we know. One time, years ago, I was on CNN. It's just a long time ago. And I did so many of these. And somebody said one time, what do you think about? And I started laughing. I said, what? So what do I think about what? It was about the drought in the sub-Saharan, locust swarms. I mean, it was like the most arcane. I said, what? Are you kidding me? What do I think? What the hell? How would I know? I don't know. What do I know? But anyway, I died laughing because I thought, what do you think? I am an expert? Who the hell am I? Okay. This is what you've been waiting for. Listen to me carefully. Listen to me carefully. Israel here, and over here we have, call it Hamas, Palestine, whatever works for you. Israel. First, here's what you got to know. Take away all of your thoughts, all of your likes, dislikes, biases, history. Forget it all. Forget it all. Number one, Israel is run like this country by a few people. I mean, they have all kinds of, Knesset and this and that. Just like we have the Congress, but who's running the show? Why isn't Hunter Biden arrested? Because a few people run the show. Why did we go to Iraq and Afghanistan? Because a few people, because of war powers. We with all of our go to Washington, just spend your time. Just a couple of people. When somebody says send the Gerald Ford out to the Gerald Ford, the carrier group. Oh my God, Gerald Ford and Dwight Eisenhower. Jesus, what happens if somebody shoots? I don't know. Who did this? Who ordered it? I don't know. A couple of people. Biden, yeah. Did Congress rule? No. 2 nuclear carriers sent out there. Who decided that? Who decided Iraq? War Powers Act, Coalition of the Willing. Bullshit. We just decided we're going to go to Iraq and that's it. So first, remember that Israel, like the United States, is run by a few people. Now, stop for a second. What would you feel if you were a part of the group of people who ran Israel? What would you think? Tell me. What would you think? What would you think? I'll tell you what I would think. Seriously? You know what I would think? I would say if I ran it, I wouldn't say this in public, but I'd get the other people who are in charge to listen. These Palestinians mean them no harm. We don't want anybody dead. They're a pain in the ass. And if we can get these people out of here, somehow we'd be so much better off. They drive me crazy. They've been driving me crazy the whole time. I don't know what this is. No other place in the world has to deal with this right here. They drive me crazy. I would also say, maybe there's some ways to. I mean, we're not, again, not genocide and all that. No. But maybe if we make them leave. I want to get them out of here. Get them out of here. Because this is ours. Wouldn't you? By the way, wouldn't you? Do you live in a city? Yeah. You want to share your city with somebody? How about the Ethiopians? A whole bunch of them. Yeah, you hear about this? A big bus loafer. You mind? They move in? What? Ethiopians. And there's nothing. It's not a racial thing. I just picked Ethiopia. Canadians. You want to be with the... Wait a minute. This is mine. So if I ran the show, I'd say, I want a couple of things. First, I want to make it miserable. I want to get the hell out of here. Maybe I'll start settlements. Maybe, I don't know, but I want to get these people out of here. I am not looking for a two-state solution. There's no such thing as a two-state solution. East Jerusalem, West Bank. Are you kidding me? I get that. Get these people out of here. Not to mention First Intifada, Second Intifada. We've had some problems. Okay? That's what I would think. I'm not talking about the Israelis. I'm not talking about the people in Sderot and Beersheba and Ashkelon and no, Tel Aviv and Haifa. No. I'm talking about the people who run the show. I want these people out of here. They keep screwing everything up. This is our plan. Switch. What would you think if you were Palestinians? Who runs the show there? That's a little bit more interesting. Is it the Palestinian Authority? Is it Abu Mazen? Is it Gaza? I mean, Hamas? I don't know. But that's a tough one because I would say there's no way we're not going to kick Israel out of Israel. It ain't going to happen. And they hate each other. Who? Not the people at the top. This group and this group. They hate each other. You have no earthly idea. They cannot stand each other. It's just been one mess after another. They thought that Arafat was the worst. He was a walk in the park compared to this. Not only that, you've got the rest of the world behind it. So what are you going to do? What are you going to do? What? Two-state solution? Maybe. Because theirs is different. Obviously, by virtue of the proportion, the people, the elite who run Israel might say, there is a way that they might leave. But Palestinians say, Israel's not leaving. So what do we do? What do you want to do? And the question that you got to ask is, and somebody's asking Hamas, excuse me, yes, we understand that you bombed these people. What did you accomplish? Well, the whole world is, no, seriously, what have you accomplished? Again, I'm talking to the upper echelons. The world hates you. Well, hates Hamas. They may say they don't, but nobody said good move. I mean, some may say, look, it's the way it goes. I don't know. It's a mess. Who started this? Groups of people. Group of people in Hamas against a group of people in Israel. And the group of people in Hamas are run and funded and supplied and garrisoned and equipped by a certain group of people from Qatar and from other, and it's just a group of people here, and these poor folks in the middle have to just suffer everywhere. Okay? That's where it is. And if you think you're going to go on Piers Morgan and say, here is the answer, Ben Shapiro says the same thing all the time. In 2005, Israel left Gaza. This was yours. I know that. Why are you saying that? Because there is a script that you have, sort of, that says we're not going to go into the nuance. We're only going to stick this for. First of all, we don't have a lot of time by virtue of this, streaming and we don't have a lot of time. So we're not going to go into the nuances in history. We're going to say this. And that's it. And then we're going to go crazy over the word ceasefire. Oh, did you ever watch Brianna and what's his name on The Rising? Van Jones used the word ceasefire. Don't say ceasefire. What? Don't say ceasefire. He went to a pro-Israel rally in D.C. and said ceasefire, and they booed him off the thing. Ceasefire, that means give up. So Piers Morgan, he's got his script. Piers, bring up Dresden. Oh, yes. Do you think that during World War II that the Allies, when they bombed Tokyo and Dresden and leveled, do you think they would have entertained a ceasefire? Piers, are you comparing this to World War II? Dresden and wait a minute. I know he is, but are we what? I can't believe. Now, the folks who are fascinating. What is his name? He is I cannot remember. He is the comedian, the Jon Stewart of Egypt. Oh God, you know who I am. Talking about Jon Stewart of Egypt is very good. Bassem Youssef. Bassem. Bassem. Very good. Now he's on and he's very funny. And what does he accomplish? Nothing. Gives insight, explain his family's plight. He's on. He has this wicked sense of humor, very dry, very twisted. And he's on with Piers. And Piers has his script. And Piers, he says his things. And then Piers Morgan is unable to say, I said one thing, but I understand the seeming logical loggerheads that we're in. Because we're talking about two countervailing, two antagonistic worlds that are attacking each other. Both of them, from the viewpoint of the individuals who are on the ground, are suffering immeasurably. That's what we're talking about. And he doesn't explain this. It's the same thing. And then we got the other guy who yells with the beard, who has Shmuley Boteach with his beard. We got the two barbaits yelling at each other because that's good TV. And this is ridiculous. Now, what I wish somebody would ask Piers, or somebody would say, Piers, if you were in, not necessarily in, well, let me ask you this. There's Gaza in the civilian level, and then there's Gaza at the Hamas level, and then there's a Palestinian Authority and Abu Mazen level. But let's talk about, what would you think if you were a Gazan citizen? What would you think about Israel? What would you think about Hamas? And what would you think about the United States? What would you think? Can you do that? Can you do that? Can they do that? Everybody here can do that. You can do that, right? I would hate whoever destroyed my city, my area, or killed my family. I don't care if you're from Gaza, if you're from Portugal, if you're from Peru, if you're from Kuala Lumpur. I don't care who you are. I don't care who you are. Now, Piers, what do you think is going to happen to them? What are they going to turn into? What do you think they're going to turn into? Do you ever think about that? Of course not. Because Piers says, well, I mean, he doesn't say that, but in essence, people are saying, and they will always say, well, I feel for you, and I understand this. Okay. Now, let me stop right there. And let me go to anybody. Let me go to anyone. Let me talk to Hassam Yusuf or Bassam. And I would say, let me ask you something. The John Stewart I wouldn't say that. That's like saying the Carl Ballantyne. That's before your time of Egypt. I would say, what would you think if you were Israel? Not Israel, the people, and then versus the upper echelon. What would you think? What would you think? Seriously, what would you do after October the 7th? What would you do? Now think about this seriously. What would you say? Well, it was bad, but the Palestinians are suffering more. No, you wouldn't say that. What would you say? What would you say? What? What would you think? You would say, get these people. Get them. Remember how you felt? 9/11? 9/11 was nothing. 9/11 was there. It was 2,500 people. It was there, and it was tragic. And there are many, many Americans there. But that was one thing. And you know how upset that was. But imagine it was every single day, it was extended or whatever it was. What would you say? You would say, get those bastards. You would also say to Bibi, I don't know where you were. How did you allow this to happen? Jimmy Carter was basically bounced out of office because of his military failure in the desert. We know something about this. This is human nature. If you're in Israel, what do you think? Would you be saying, now hold it, wait a minute, hold it? This was bound to happen. No. And if you want to compare, you can say, well, there's more. No, you wouldn't do that. And if you cannot put yourself in the position of these two people, if you cannot understand what it's like, then you cannot understand the intractability, the insolubility of what we're talking about right now. You cannot understand that. And I want you to understand what I'm saying. You have to understand this. I've seen this my whole life. You've got to be able to handle both things. In law, in criminal law, you see the victim's family. The victim's family, they are, let's say, in a murder, they are bereft. And you've got the defendant. This guy is out of his mind. Somebody who was off his med, somebody, whatever it was. And my mother always said, remember, every person was a cute little baby at one point. Every family has their family member who is a mess, a waste, who they love him and they don't know what to do. And I can understand from their point of view. And then I understand the victim's family. Can you understand both? Life is like that. If you can't understand two completely things, anybody who was in Vietnam, understand the way the American soldiers felt, the Marines also, and also how the Vietnamese felt. See, nobody does this. Nobody, I understand it perfectly. And if I have Bassam Yusuf, I go, that makes sense. And if I have somebody who's off it, that makes sense. And you can talk about, well, is it necessary? And do you want to go that far? And we can argue, I think, about to what degree. But by the way, here's the question. What is it that we're trying to do? And I don't want to spend my whole time talking about this, but I'm telling you right now, listen to what I'm saying. Nobody wants to tell you the complexity of this. We hate complexity. And you've got to be able to sit here and understand two completely different things. And I want you to be able to say tonight, from now on, I know what the Israelis feel and I know what the Palestinians feel. I know what they feel. I got it. And the good news is nobody's asking me to solve the situation because I'm just a schmuck. I'm just a regular person. And I cannot believe the level of absolute shite of what is being presented. It is the most boring. I know the argument. And when Bassam Yusuf and others come on and say this, I know what you're saying. I believe this. Why are we? Here is the question. Number one, only one question. What are you going to do? Israel, first question. In terms of we all agree that Hamas is located in Gaza. I think all of us know this by virtue of tunnels and you can argue about whether the missile landed in the parking lot. You can argue about whether people were, argue whatever you want. I defy you to say, no, Hamas is in Cleveland. It's no. We know it's there. Okay, fine. What is the military plan? What do you do? They are there. Okay? Hamas is there. What do you do? For how long? How deep? How extensive? How brutal? That's the question. That's it. That's the only issue right now. We'll get to Hamas in a moment. And that's the issue. And I would love to hear tacticians, strategists, historians, people who know about terrain, people who know about it's like whack-a-mole. You remember the Caddyshack. Remember that gopher? You put the thing in, it blows him up, and he's over here. So we go into Gaza, we destroy Gaza, we absolutely level it, just collapse it. Every tunnel's destroyed, every warren, every tunnel, every rivulet, everything is gone. There is no, it is gone. Hamas does not exist anymore in Gaza. There is no Gaza, but okay, fine. Now, where do you think Hamas, is that it? They say, all right, they're gone, they're finished? Or are they over here now? Or is it now the world? Have you inspired everybody? Now, that's not to mean or to say that we stop what we're doing. These are questions that we have to ask. Think about that question, my friend. Think very, very carefully. Think about this. I ask you, I beg you, I beg you to ask this particular question. But now, before I begin or continue, let me say to you that I want you to consider this particular story and offer from our dear friends at mypillow.com. Let me tell you about my great friends at mypillow.com. Mypillow.com. And by the way, use promo code Lionel. Use promo code Lionel and receive a free gift. No purchase necessary. And yes, I realize that gifts are free. It's a tautology. Get over it. Sue me. So what are we talking about? How about Giza Dream bed sheets, My Pillow 2.0, sheets, slippers, percales, towels, quilts, bedspreads, mattresses, mattress covers, mattress toppers, linens, kitchen towels, bathrobes, name it. Items to luxuriate and relax. And don't forget, Christmas is just around the corner. And yes, it makes a great stocking stuffer, and it's fine for dad or grad. Made by the greatest company from the greatest people in the greatest country. Or call 800-645-4965 if you're OG, and see how quickly Mike Lindell answers the phone. 800-645-4965. But don't forget, only use promo code Lionel. That's mypillow.com. Promo code Lionel. Mypillow.com. Promo code Lionel. I understand exactly what's going on. The other day I saw on my YouTube rotation, they had Mark Levin, who was on with Bibi Netanyahu. Gee, I wonder what Bibi's going to say. Okay. I wonder what Cornel West is going to say. Okay. Everybody's, is it me or what? Do you just, I just know what everybody's going to say. It's boring. Here is my question. How long do you go? Where is the problem? Let me ask something. Years ago, remember when we had this thing called racism? I want to stop racism. Okay. Well, good luck with that. So let's go after the Klan. Did that stop racism? No. But it was a manifestation of it. It was more than just racism. It was about civil rights and the like. How do you stop certain things? How do you stop anything? I ask the question, why did we never try to stop Antifa? Antifa is going to be back again, right? Ladies, again, talk about effulgent in mentality. A man who is, without peer, the lovely and talented Eric Thaddeus Walters, who says Pope Pius VII lauded USA's intervention in the Barbary Pirates Mediterranean human trafficking, which led to the UK's abolitionist movement. Should USA now be focused on domestic issues? Yes. 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 And thank you, sir. Yes. Yes. What do you want to get involved in this? No, we have something here. Number one, who stopped Antifa? Number two, somebody's going to do something here. You know this. You know, and I know somebody at the highest levels, either to make it look lie hop, my hop, whatever you want to call it. Somebody somewhere is going to say, we're going to have to kick this up a notch, to use Emerald Lagasse lingo. We're going to have to do something that's really nasty, because people do not understand how serious this thing is, unless and until we do something about this. That's coming up next. What about Antifa? They're going to be here. Whatever happened to BLM? We don't know about that. Whatever happened? We have in our own cities this absolute moron oaf, Eric Adams, who is cutting back on every conceivable budget for new hires for the police, teachers, name it. When I say this to you, I don't say it out of any disrespect. I will concern myself, and I think we should concern ourselves with Israel and Palestine when we get our own particular issues in order first. And that goes for Iraq and Afghanistan and any place else for that matter. We are not at all going to help anything. It's going to make matters worse. What are we going to do? What? Now, what I do believe in is behind the scenes. Oh, we can do all kinds of stuff. I would say intel, but that seems to be a problem. Behind the scenes, working with others, working with perhaps our diplomatic corps to find out what the hell is going on here. If MBS, Qatar, Jordan, Emirates, the BRICS +6 picked up the phone and said, all right, I don't want to see Hamas. Thank you and good night. Al-Qaeda. Where's Al-Qaeda? They went away. ISIS. They went away. ISIL. They went away. IS. Daesh. Boko Haram. Not Kuras. It was another name for it. Al-Aqsa. They went. They left. They left. Where? What do we do? How? What happened? Is this our beef? I don't know. I don't know. What are we supposed to do with this thing? I don't know. But there's one thing we need to do. This is going to spill over here, and I don't want that. I don't need that, because we have lunatics here. We have people on a chat room, very few, who can't get along because they're anonymous. Imagine these people out on the street. What do we do? This is going to come here. It's not that it's not important. We didn't care for years during the DRC, Democratic Republic of Congo, when women were being raped with bayonets and wood and rifles, and we had fistulas, and they were in commune. It was like 250,000 women. Nobody cared about that. Rwanda genocide, nobody cared about that. But then all of a sudden we say, well, this is different. Okay. Listen, please do not misunderstand what I'm saying. Please. This is horrible. Horrible. I don't want there to be anything that even remotely resembles or could escalate into something. I don't want that. I don't want that in any way. But my friends, I want you to understand something. Tonight, let it be your duty, your goal, to go out of your way to just say, I want from now on to say, how does this side see it? And how does this side see it? Not to repeat over and over and over the same stuff. That's all. That's all, my friends. It's a horrible story. Mr. Professor, thank you so much. Mr. Professor Walters, thank you for your interest in this. Got a couple of videos coming down the line. By the way, I saw this thing. Did you see our good friend, Mr. Javier Mele? And they kept saying he's right wing, right wing, right wing. I did a video on this notion of what is right wing. And interestingly enough, a right wing, according to my definition, refers to a political perspective or ideology that supports conservative or traditional values and policies. Right-wing ideologies often emphasize limited government intervention in the economy, individual liberties, traditional social values, and a strong national defense. Right-wing political parties or movements can vary in their specific stances on issues, but they generally lean towards preserving established social structures, promoting free market principles, and advocating for a strong national identity. The term is often used as a part of the broader spectrum of political ideologies, with left wing representing more progressive or liberal views. Here's left wing. Listen to this. Left wing refers to a political ideology or position that generally supports social equality, progressive social policies, and government intervention in the economy. Left-wing individuals or parties that advocate for social justice, workers' rights, environmental protection, and public ownership of certain industries. The political stance is characteristically by a commitment to addressing socioeconomic inequalities and promoting collective responsibility for the welfare of citizens. The left wing is typically contrasted with the right wing, which tends to favor individual liberties, free market capitalism, and limited government intervention. Sounds good to me. And they're calling Mr. Mele right wing. Let's hear it for the right wing. If that's right wing, count me in. All right, dear friends, have a great and glorious night. Remember, I know what you're doing. I just don't know why. Have a great and glorious night, my friends. We love you madly. You are in our hearts and in our minds. You're in my heart. Rod Stewart, is it not? See you tomorrow, 8 a.m. Same bad time, same bad channel, 8 a.m. Eastern time. Until then, my friends, remember the monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue you. Dead.